Hi, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Vita Luca, and today we're going to be reading and then responding to a set of comments that viewers left on one of my videos. And it's mainly in regards to maternity leave, so we're going to be comparing the difference between Czech maternity leave and Canadian maternity leave. But then also passports and some other stuff comes up too. So let's just get into this video. And I just want to let you guys know in advance that if you're to ever leave any comments, I never expect you to have perfect English. I myself don't always have perfect English. I know many native English speakers who don't have perfect English, so it's never expected, okay? Just FYI, putting that out there. And I'm reading these two comments mainly because they're very, very educational in the maternity leave. And I also had another viewer leave some details elsewhere in a video. Fortunately, I can't find it. But it also wasn't the full information where these two guys fully broke it down. So shout out to Patrick Hannes and Michal Sikora, and I apologize if I say your names incorrectly. I'm sorry. If you know about the Czech maternity system, you can skip to here and hear the Canadian side. If you want to listen to both, listen to both. So Patrick says, maternity leave is not so bad in the Czech Republic. You see 300K and you say it is not much, and I understand why you're saying this, but one, you have to realize that Prague is totally different from the rest of the country. Many people say that it is a different republic inside the republic because expenses are way more higher in comparison with the rest of the country. So these 300K are more valuable in other towns because they are not as expensive as Prague. Two, you can be with your child for 3 to 4 years at home, and that means you can see your child grow and be with him or her. Here you have to understand many Czech people don't have so much money for an au pair or for someone who could take care of the kids, so that's the reason why we have a long maternity leave in the 300K. 300K is not much, but you don't have to pay for many doctors and other services, which are not free in other countries. 4, as you said in your latest video, future for kids here can be much better than in other countries. You don't have to pay much or directly for many services, kindergarten, schools, universities, doctors. Public transportation is quite reliable and cheap in comparison with other countries. We are an EU member, so when you get citizenship, you can travel around Europe only with your občanka, or identity card. 5, we have the 9th strongest passport, 2020 information, in the world. That means you almost don't need a visa from many countries out of the EU. 6, our wages are not so high, but you can have almost same quality of life because prices are not so high as well. 7, real estate is different galaxy here. It is incredibly expensive, especially in Prague. We have 2 houses on the countryside for the price of 1 flat in Prague or even more. Everybody expects that this real estate bubble will explode in the future and prices will go down. Everything has advantages, disadvantages. Many people solve these problems that they work in Prague and live outside of Prague, or they just move to another city. But I understand that Prague is better for English-speaking people. And I'm going to make my comments after everything in case someone skipped. So then Michal says, it's good to point out that in Czechia there are 2 leaves, maternity leave and parental leave. So on maternity leave, you get 70% of your gross income, day average from last 12 months of employment for 196 days, 6 months, for 1 kid, and 259 days for twins or triplets, 9 months. It's a bit in there, 9.5 and 6.5, but. And I'm going to be referring to twins and triplets as multiples from this point on. Then you go on paternal leave. You get 300K or 450K for multiples, and you choose how long you want to be home. It can be 1 month to 4 years. It automatically ends when your youngest child is 3 years old, but overall you get the 300K for that time. If you have multiples, if you have triplets or more, you get a free au pair to help you and other preferential treatment, like they move you. You hire enlist for town or city flat with lower rent, etc. So on the next batch of the comments that Michal left, he wanted to correct a mistake that he said in his last post, that the minimum length of parental leave is 6 months, not 1 month. As an employee, if you are sick, you'll get 60% of your wage from day 1 to day 15 from your employer, and from day 15 then the government starts to pay you. If you're pregnant, you are entitled to maternity leave. So a monthly net income of $22,000. Your gross income is $30,000. So your maternal leave is calculated from the gross income. In the end, you'll get around $20,730 for 196 days, 6 months. If you have a contract for an indefinite period, your employer must hold your position for you after you get back from parental leave. Also, as an employee, if your employer wants to get rid of you, he must pay you 3 months' salary as compensation. As a contractor, OSVČ, now it depends on how much you're paying, and if you're using a flat rate on your tax return, 40 or 60 or 80% of your income is expenditure on paper. Monthly, you pay health insurance deposit. The minimum is 2,393 crowns a month. Social insurance deposit as well. Minimum of 2,588 crowns a month. Maybe you pay some deposit towards taxes, but most OSVČ don't. If you're paying only this, you will not receive maternity leave. You can pay optional monthly deposit towards sick day insurance, and then you will get maternity leave. Minimum sick day deposit is 129 crowns a month. Another condition for maternity leave is that for 2 years, you must pay sick day insurance for at least 9 months, and from that 9 months, 6 months in a row before you get pregnant. So an example is if you're using a 60% flat rate for your expenditure, your gross income on your tax return entire year is 360K, net income is 144K, net income per month is 12K, sick day insurance is calculated 2.1% of your half monthly net income. In this example, it'd be 126K. It is the below minimum payment, so you'll pay 129K. Now, how much you get for maternity leave in this example, OSVČ, for an entire 196 days, you will only get the total of 27,832 crowns, not monthly, but in total. It's a total joke, and most of the OSVČ don't pay sick day insurance and just get parental leave instead. For maternity leave, it doesn't matter if you're a permanent resident or a long-term resident. For parental leave, you must be a permanent resident or a long-term resident at least 1 year before your child is born. And one crucial information I forgot, if you're on maternity leave, you can't work for extra money. It doesn't matter if you're an employee or contractor. After you start parental leave, you can work for as much as you want. If you earn less than 10,000 crowns a month, you didn't even pay social insurance and health insurance, and it is tax-free. If you earn more than 10,000 crowns on parental leave, you will pay standard social and health insurance. Only condition for parental leave money is that child must be taken care of. For example, your grandparents take care, or you will hire a nanny or put child in kindergarten. If you put your child in kindergarten and it is younger than 2 years, there's a monthly limit of 92 hours for that. If you broke that, you will lose parental leave money. That's actually really good to know. And then Patrick comes back and he goes, OSVČ has much lower taxes than employee, and that is quite important to say. So OSVČ has to do much more things, pay for more things him herself, but has lower taxes than employee. So yeah, you have less money on maternity leave, but you had more money before that you could have saved money. And then Michael comes back saying, good point out about taxes. Problem is that employers frequently abuse the system and force you to be OSVČ because it is much cheaper for them. So yeah, basically that's what they said. And I am sorry that this took 8 minutes, but let me get back onto this. So some of the really good things to point out was the sick day insurance if you are OSVČ or a contractor, basically. Because when I looked it up, it told me that sick day insurance was just paying for your health insurance. 100% not that. But that's what I was told when I initially looked this up, because I went like, oh, how does a contractor get maternity leave? You have to be paying sick day insurance. I'm like, what is sick day insurance in the Czech Republic? Ads about visa pay, basically. So I was like, okay, it's regular health insurance. No, it is not. It's something entirely separate that you have to pay into. And like they've stated, most don't even use it, because you get really low wages for being a contractor, and then you get, like, you might as well just take 300K. So I want to go off kind of point by point, just really like basic. So I completely understand that Prague is entirely different from the rest of the country, but that's kind of where I see the 300K should maybe be different amounts for where you live based off of the cost of living in those places. Because if you're getting 300K and your rent is 20K, within that year, you've already paid 240,000 crowns just for your rent alone. And so now you got 60K left. And I completely understand that the money's not supposed to be used for that, but I'm using that as an example of how little it is in Prague. Whereas, yes, if you're working outside of Prague and you're getting like 11,000, say 16,000 crowns net, after everything, then yeah, it's a great bonus. It's more than what you're making in a year, so it's perfect. But if it's completely less than what you're making, it doesn't seem like it's worth it in my eyes. So I feel like it should be a number that is different for everybody. And then if you are making so much more, do you need this large amount? Like, that's another question too. We'll go into this. So also in Canada, because they mentioned like Czechs don't have a lot of money for daycare and au pairs, Canadians don't have money for au pairs either. Au pairs are like, you know, you're the prime minister or a celebrity. Nobody's got live-in nannies in Canada. Maybe somebody does, but like my family never did. You pay for a daycare. Daycares can be extremely expensive. They typically end up being subsidized if you are like a single mother or a single parent. Then sometimes you can get better daycares and you can get on a government assistance program who will assist you with that. Typically, yeah, there are lots of families that go like, oh, I'd be paying like $500 for daycare while I want to work part-time, so I'm only making $500. Not worth it. So there's lots of those people in North America. Canada also has free healthcare. You actually don't see it as much as you do here. Like, our healthcare comes out of our provincial taxes, but we don't have like, because you know here you'll have like Social Security, visa pay, whatever other taxes you pay, right? I can't think at this moment. But yeah, you see that breakdown. Whereas in Canada, you'll see federal tax, provincial tax, EI, CPP. Those are the 4 taxes you'll see on your paycheck, unless you have like some special taxes, but I doubt it. Like maybe you'll see your health insurance that you're paying into if you have an additional health insurance, but it's not necessary for you to have it unless you want certain things covered, like medications. We don't cover them. But they're also not fully covered here either, because there's medications that the province will cover and there's medications that it won't, just like visa pay won't cover everything. So there's that. Then we go into the EU thing. Universities in Canada, not free. Doctors, more so than here, because doctors tend to want you to see specialists here so that they don't get billed later for you if visa pay doesn't deem you to have that as a necessary item. So that's different. Though there's longer wait times in Canada most likely than here. I've never had an issue though. I've always went in an ambulance to the hospital. So I was that injured that I took ambulances, and that got me in right away. So and in Canada, because the EU kind of works like Canada does as a whole, but you're all separate countries just enveloped into one, and Canada's all separate provinces enveloped into one. So you can actually just travel with your driver's license or any form of identification that has your face and your name on it. But yeah, you can use your driver's license and just travel. My husband used his Czech driver's license and traveled in Canada with it. Nobody said anything. I was kind of surprised. Like, oh, he's not even from here, but they didn't care. The Czech passport is 9th in the world. Canada's 10. I'm just going to say that. Like, the Czech passport gets me into one extra country, and then I can live wherever I want in EU, but I could also just date or marry in EU and do the exact same thing. So to me, it doesn't really seem necessary to have a Czech passport for myself, but for others, definitely. My husband definitely wants to have a Czech passport over his Ukrainian one, 100%. So there's things. And then if he gets his Czech passport, I don't need to get mine because I can mooch. You guys really should change those laws, but oh well. Yeah, so then the wages aren't high in the Czech Republic, but they are 2 to 3 times higher in Canada. So this comparison is going to be extremely different because of that. So let's break that down. In Canada, we have maternity leave and parental leave. Basically, they are the exact same thing, just different names for who's taking it. So maternity leave is for the biological mother, parental leave, everybody else. So father, adoptive parents, etc. So for the standard maternity leave, you will be paid 55% of your gross income. I believe it's gross income, over a 9-month period. Then you have the extended parental leave, where you will be paid 33% of your gross income over a 15-month and week period. The numbers are lower than the Czech Republic, where the Czech Republic pays you 70% of your gross income for a 6-month period. So in reality, you're making double what you do in the Czech Republic. They kind of come down to roughly the same. Not really, but kind of. So let's use the numbers that were stated before. You make $30,000. You're going to get 70% of that, right? So you're going to be getting, well, he was advised 20,000, seven something. So let's just say you get 21,000. Okay, we're going to round up. You get 21,000 per month for 6 months. With parental leave in Canada, I took the average income of $56,200. I just Google searched average income in all of Canada because when I was doing it province to province, it was much larger than I ever thought it would be. And I was sad that I wasn't getting that kind of money. But we will divide it over the month period. So this is roughly 4,683 Canadian dollars a month, which in Czech crowns is 78,424 gross. Okay? So now if you were to do the 55% of that, you're roughly getting 43,000 crowns a month. And then if you're wanting to do the 33%, you'd be getting roughly 25,000 crowns a month, 25,873. Even though the percentages are lower, you are getting more money because you're making more money. And I know you're also going to be saying, oh, but Canada is so much more expensive than Prague. It's not though. Which could be a whole different video, okay? Because I would love to do a video where I break down of whether or not you can actually live off of the minimum wage in each province. So if you want to see that, like this video. You get it to 30 likes, I'll make that video. But yeah, so if you're living in Toronto, yeah, you may not survive. If you're living in Saskatoon or Winnipeg, you could 100% live. And you want to know why? Because Canada also has this other thing called child tax, which is not an actual tax. It's the government paying you to have babies. So every 20th of the month, Canadians who have children and Canadians who are eligible for child tax will get a specific amount sent from the government to help them raise their children. And so for child tax, basically all you have to do is be the legal guardian of a child, and then you also have to just not make too much money, really. But what's really interesting, and I'm going to leave in the description box below a link where you can go and put in your own family and see how much money the government of Canada would be giving you. Just say that you live in Canada and, you know, you're a resident, whatnot. Just go through it. Just say you're a Canadian, whatever. Put in your family and see how much money the government of Canada would be giving you monthly for your children. And then also you might even see how much money you would get back from GST and HST, which is just all the taxes that you pay into quarterly, they pay you back a bit. So if you don't make a lot of money, this is great, because for my household, if it was my husband and I, and we had a baby on December 30th, 2020, and he made 100,000 Canadian dollars a year, and I made 40,000 Canadian dollars a year gross, we would be getting $150 from Canada each month to help us raise our child that was just born on December 30th. So then I played around with it, and, you know, I moved to a different province. I tried with single parents. I tried people who weren't making any money at all. Guess what? You're making $20,000 a year, single parent, you're not married, you're not whatever. $560 a month to assist you with raising your child. So in order to get maternity leave in Canada, you need to have legitimate insurable employment. So you're not being paid under the table. You're paying into your EI or employment insurance, because the maternity leave is a branch off of EI. So you have to be paying into this in order to get it. Now, your EI payments are roughly $1.58 per $100 that you make. It's very, very little. It's the smallest off your paycheck. Your employer also pays into this for you. And honestly, it is so easy to get back everything that you put in if you ever lose your job or you go on maternity leave. Like, you'll get all your money back easily. And then you need to at least have 600 hours put in within the 1 year period. So basically, the minute that you're done working is when you should be applying for your maternity leave. So from this point on, the day that you want your maternity leave to start, the government of Canada would go back 52 weeks and see if you put in at least 600 hours of work within that time frame. This is roughly 3 months of full-time work or 6 months of part-time work. Very, very minimal work, really. Because I thought it was 1,000 hours. It's only 600. And then you also have to have had at least a 40% decrease in your weekly income in order to receive maternity leave. So you don't necessarily have to not be working, but you do have to have at least a 40% decrease in your weekly earnings. Otherwise, you will not be able to get it because you're not supposed to be working while on this, though it could support a part-time job if needed. So that's another thing that's really interesting in comparison to the Czech one, because the Czech one, you're not supposed to work at all, which I completely understand. I don't know why you would want to birth out a baby and then go back to work. You can split up the weeks between you and your spouse as well. Yeah, we don't necessarily have something to keep you being recovered over like a 4-year period like the 300K is. But also from my perspective, if you take the 300K, divide it by 12, you get about like 25,000 crowns a month. But if you're dividing it by 24, it's now half that. Divided by 36, half that. So like really it's very, very little income. Though, like I said, if you're living outside of Prague and your income is already like 16K, 25K is like an upgrade. Divide that in half. That's 12,500. Now it's just like, oh, I'm just losing a little bit of money, but I can like be with my babies. And then now you're dropping to 7,000 for 3 years. And I'm not sure if you get it all at once. I'm pretty sure you get it all at once too. So then you can divide it up right away. Yeah, so let me know in the comments below which one you would prefer or which one you would think is better. To be honest, even if I had a job in Canada, I wouldn't be able to take maternity leave because I'm not a resident for tax purposes, because that is another requirement. You do have to be in Canada in order to receive it. So it's not like I could get it anyway, so I would definitely have to go the Czech route. But either way, I don't necessarily see either system as being better or worse than the other. It's kind of just different. But I do think it would be better for those living in Prague if they got a bit more just to help. Because Prague is, like, as stated, Prague is a lot more expensive than the rest of the country. So you would think that there'd be, like, a type of compensation. And, of course, this was all discussed for those who are married with children. It's not coming down to like single mothers and what they get, and if they go on some social assistance or whatever. We're not talking about those, except for that one example when I said like they'll get $500 a month, because yeah, they would. But you can play with the link in below, see what your family would get. Let me know. Let me see your opinions. Let me know if I missed anything. If you want to discuss more about Canada, like, I'm happy to help, but I thought that this would be a very good discussion, and all of these comments were so well written that I really wanted to share it, because I've done my own research on this, and like I stated, I get different information. Like when I look up what is sick day insurance, oh yeah, it's just, paying into your health insurance. And so I was like, oh, well, that's easy. No, there's a whole other type of insurance. And now I'm like, oh, heck, I need to get myself that insurance just in case. Oh, 1 year period you have to pay for 180 days, apparently before you become pregnant. So yeah, I need to get myself that for a just in case measure, because I don't want to have to still work after I push out a baby. Hi, I'm back. I just realized something. I didn't make any note about self-employed people in Canada. So that's basically what we would call a contractor. Not many people are this. Most people, I would say, work for a company, unless they're like 100% an entrepreneur and they're like starting like a physical business. But in case you do fall under this category in Canada, self-employed Canadians may be entitled to receive maternity leave benefits under Canada's Special Benefits Employment Insurance Program, which is just another form of EI. And the only way to receive this is if you were to pay into EI. And if you know that you are expecting to have a child soon, you can start to make contributions on your own income into EI, and then you'll be fine and you can take maternity leave. And if you are a small business owner, you're not automatically entitled to parental leave. But again, you pay into EI, you can get it. But because you're starting, like if you're just starting out with your small business, you may not feel like you'll get the time off that you need anyways, because you're running a business. But yeah, I hope you liked this video, and I hope I explained everything well. And let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know how much your family would be getting in the Czech Republic. Do your parents, do your grandparents? By the way, you may need a VPN. I'm sorry if you do. I would shout out a few VPNs, but none of them are sponsoring me, so I don't want to do that. But like, there are some who give free trials, like 7-day trials. Just try one. It doesn't matter who. But yeah, you might need a VPN in order to access the site, because Services Canada does 100% block you. Yeah, I guess I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.